so much stuff.
All right. Welcome back to another Tile Nation, Tile Money interview. My name is Luke Miller, your host. We're sitting down with Ron Nash, president of LATICRETE. How are you, Ron?
Good morning, Luke. I'm doing great.
Good. Well, let's start off with a couple softball questions here, if you don't mind.
Okay.
You've got a lot of interesting hobbies and are really artistic. In fact, if you've seen my face over here, the pencil drawing, that was Ron Nash. So he's multi-talented. What about, I know you do a lot of vacations, and I came up with this question because you've been sharing a lot of photos from past vacations, and it got me thinking, and I even started looking at some photos from my Ireland trip, and going through that was so fun. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite vacation memory?
Okay, so first of all, what you might see me doing right now on social is that I'm in a challenge. I'm in a challenge with a group of other executives that the challenge was that you want to apply or pick up a skill or a talent that you had as a child that you did not get better at, but pick it up as an adult and apply 10,000 hours towards that challenge. So what I used to do all the time, my mother is a classically trained artist, and so what I used to do all the time is draw with her and things like that. So I picked that as my 10,000 hour challenge.
Nice.
Now, here's the thing, you don't realize how many hours 10,000 hours is,
right,
until you start logging what you're doing. So I'm about 4,500 hours into this multi-year challenge, and so what you're seeing is a doodle. Okay, so that picture that I drew that's there on that big sign was actually from the photo that you took a selfie on my thing. So on the flight home, I drew that really quickly and sent it to you. I didn't expect that anybody in public would see it, but it is funny, and it's fun. It's just something that's fun, and I think it's really important for people to tax different parts of their brain, and art is one of those things that if you're a tile installer, believe it or not, you're using that part of your brain because you're laying out patterns and you're learning what looks good, what doesn't look good. You're looking at shade, all the tones of the colors that you use, all that stuff. So tile is connected to art really, really tightly.
Yeah.
And so I think it's pretty cool. But so I'm trying to use that part of my brain, and get better at those kind of things. Help me with my creativity.
Yeah.
I think it's a big thing. Now, as far as the photos go, so I've been taking pictures for 20 years, and I don't know whether you've ever gone through your past photo streams, but I've been trying to clean up and take the best of my travel photos and put together a coffee table book for myself. It's not just for myself. And so that's a lot of the photos that were coming out, and that actually has spawned itself into a little bigger project. Because I've done 3 walkabouts during COVID. One in the beginning where I went out into the field and talked to contractors and did some interviews, those kind of things, take some photos. And I did one in the middle where I drove around the West. I drove 3,500 miles around the West, took a bunch of photos. And then I'm going to do another one at the end of this year. Hopefully we're seeing a lot more recovery. And I just wanted to photographically capture what's happened in the industry during COVID, and I've put together some pretty cool stuff, actually.
Nice.
It's surprisingly very interesting. So I'm working on that. So you'll see me carrying around the old Leica now, trying to take some better pictures, because the one thing that about this wasn't planned, so I didn't carry equipment that I probably should have. Now in retrospect, I really wish I would have. Because there's such a crazy time in history that we're living through that hopefully I don't ever have to live through it again, but 10 years from now it might be interesting to look back, and so that's kind of what I'm doing.
I think it definitely will be. There's no might about it.
And at LATICRETE, we're a bunch of adventurers. Our culture is wrapped around travel and meeting new people.
Right.
And our culture is really big into, obviously, outdoors, wildlife, those kind of things. Just because our owners, David Rothberg he probably stays more nights in a tent than he does his house. The guy really enjoys the outdoors. And a lot of our team has gone through the North American Outdoor Leadership School, and we're trained in that way. And so it's really part of our DNA that, we're really tight with that. So you'll see how that affects us is that we're continually curious about other cultures, other people. We're a big tent in this world, and LATICRETE's one of those. It's kind of like everything exists there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see the culture. I mean, it's a cultural thing.
Tell me about this wilderness training you said, leadership training? Or?
So David Rothberg has been on the board of the North American Outdoor Leadership School for quite some time. And our executive teams go on these retreats, and usually there are a number of weeks where, I've gone llamaneering, so you literally have a llama that you've got to take care of, and you hike over the Tetons, those kind of things. We've gone in Maine, we've gone ocean kayaking, sea kayaking. I've gone to, it's just a number of things, Alaska. I go to Moab every year. So, pardon me. The idea is that we're continually getting to know each other deeply. Because, the one thing you can't hide in a leadership thing is if you're hungry and you're uncomfortable and you're cold and you're wet.
Let the emotions come out.
That's where the real, that's where the real human comes out.
Yeah.
And if you can learn how to lead in that environment, then, boardrooms are a piece of cake. And if you're in the boardroom and you're hungry, you just get up and get yourself a snack.
Right.
But if you're in the middle of the bush, and it's cold and rainy and all of those, we get to see how people interact together. We call it expedition behavior. If you're on an expedition with each other, the things that make it work is you start noticing how each other feels, right?
Yeah.
And Luke is a little tired. Luke seems to be hanging back a little bit. I'm going to check in with Luke and see how he's doing. Hey, can I get you anything? How are you feeling? Are we going too fast? Are we going too slow? These are all expressions of caring. And if you're going to learn how to be a good leader, it's a great way to do it because you're really dealing with the real emotions, real people. So a lot of my leadership style has come from those experiences. The real hard leadership that you can apply literally in everything. You can, and that's the cool part about it.
Yeah. So it strengthens the relationships amongst teams, coworkers.
Yeah, certainly.
Nice.
Yeah, certainly there's a relationship there. And that's special after that, but I think the bigger part is you're just more aware. You're just more aware. You're more aware of what's going on. You're more aware of how people are feeling. And I find that in business, a lot of times we talk about like making the bottom line balance, gross profit margin, all the supply chain stuff that you have to do, the hard business analytics.
Yeah.
And we forget the human.
Yeah.
And I find that my job now, especially as I've become the president of the company, my job is primarily humans now. I mean, yes, don't get me wrong, I've got a significant responsibility for all of the financials and all of the things that I have to do and on my plate, but really at LATICRETE, we're worried about the entire human, the whole human. How do we make people's lives better who work here? Because if you have that as a mission, then everything else sort of takes care of itself.
Yeah.
You get closer to the customer because you're a more thoughtful individual.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, but it's that soft side stuff that I've been focusing a lot on, and it's been really hitting pay dirt for sure.
Yeah.
Especially through COVID. COVID's just so crazy. It's just...
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it sounds like we need more of this stuff now more than ever, right? This kind of thinking.
Listen, okay, so you got the Great Resignation. Everybody's like, eat, pray, love, right? Everybody's looking at their career saying, is this the right thing for me? Is this the right industry for me? Do I have enough, do I feel accepted and welcome here? Look, a lot of people say, oh, this guy leaves a job because of money, or they leave the job because they're not making enough or whatever. And I got to tell you, the massive truth that's sitting in front of everybody is most of the time people leave jobs for bad relationships. And they leave organizations because they don't feel loved, welcomed, respected. And if you can foster an organization, and this is hard, it's not easy, it requires effort, okay? It's not something that you just say, oh, I love everybody and we're good. You've got to work on this, but if you have an environment like that, then you'll see people start picking up the slack for each other, and everybody's load goes down, and the environment is so much happier. And that's my mission. That's my entire mission for LATICRETE. If you want to know my secret work, that's really what I do. Is I'm concerned about the people. I'm concerned about getting good talent in and making sure that that talent's well cared for, fostered, fed, and moving forward. So that's pretty much what I do for work now.
So you talk about the Great Resignation or the anti-work movement, I've heard it called. How has that impacted LATICRETE, and what do you do, to kind of combat it?
Well, okay, so the good news is that our retention's very, very good.
Okay.
So we don't have a lot of people leaving, but we do have an industry challenge that we're bumping up against, which is we're continually trying to source and find new young voices, young people to get in our industry. And it's a real concern of mine, because if you look at the average age of the people that even walk around, we need to get that the youth inside of this great industry, and so my whole thing with LATICRETE is that I'm continually trying to bring younger people in.
Okay.
And by the way, younger people in a lot of different ways, social media outreach, younger people as far as participating in different industries. We have some new positions that we're going to be opening up this year that we're specifically going to try to find some interns from universities to bring in and help. So we're trying to bring people into our business and into our industry from outside of our industry. A lot of times companies like mine will just look for tile contractors, right? I want to hire all the tile contractors. Well, that's a problem after a while, if you're continually only bringing in the tile contractors. Who's going to be the next tile contractors? That makes me nervous. So we're looking for some forward-thinking individuals from outside of our industry that we can bring and show how cool it is, how great this plate, how great it is. And by the way, we're a technology company too.
Right.
So a lot of especially younger people, want to work for companies that are forward-thinking. We have the latest technology everywhere. We're continually training on new methods of communication. We were doing the Teams virtual meetings and things like that way before it was cool to do it. So we're continually looking to bring technology into people's work to amplify them, and also to attract the younger people, because they require it. I mean, they just literally won't stay in a company that's not tech forward. Which is digital's the way of the future. It's pretty crazy when I sit in a meeting where Henry B. Rothberg, who's basically retired. But Henry B. Rothberg calls me on a Saturday and says, "Hey, when's our NFT going to drop?" If you guys knew Henry Rothberg, you would not expect words like NFT to come out of a gentleman of that age, his mouth. But
he's eager to get into the next thing.
Exactly.
He embraces it.
Exactly. They're always eager to get into that next thing. And
so when is the LATICRETE NFT going to drop?
Probably next month.
All right.
Nice. So we do. We have some.
So are you getting into looking into accepting crypto and?
So it's a lot harder than what you'd think.
Sure.
You would think that we'd be able to just start accepting crypto, form of payment, and all these other things, but there are some serious financial accounting rules that have to be followed when you do that kind of thing, especially with a company of our size. So we're really kind of treading in that slowly, but it is something that we are going to be doing in the future. We are looking for that, because not just crypto, but blockchain technology has a great opportunity for a lot of people as far as contract work, how we might sign agreements in the future, all those things. So there are some space inside of our world for that.
Sure.
And of course, then when you start talking about the potential impact on trademarks, logos, brand names, all of that, I mean, that space is just the future. So you have to be looking at that right now. And I'm launching some cool products.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to talk about those products for sure. There's been a running theme here, if you haven't noticed. We started talking about Ron's 10,000 hour project where he's, doodling for, you're on hour what, 500?
I'm at 40, I'm at 44, about 4,400.
Oh, you're almost halfway there. Now what happens at that 10,000 hour mark? I mean, what is the whole idea between getting to 10,000?
So I think that obviously started from a book. And the title is escaping me right now, and I apologize for that, but it was basically saying you could become expert in really anything that you apply 10,000 hours of good, solid practice to. And, I'm in this executive group, and we challenge each other to do a lot of things, and one of the people said, hey, I'd like to challenge you to pick up a skill when you were a child and apply that now.
Right.
And that happened to be the one that I selected.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it's been such a great mental thing. It's been a meditation of sorts.
Yeah.
Because I'm doodling around, but I'm also thinking, and my brain is in a different mode, and I'm connecting the dots to things.
Yes.
And I do come up with a much better.
Well, I figured that was the
solutions.
case. I mean, we're opening up our left side of the brain, right? Our creative side of the brain when we do this type of stuff. If we're just stuck in the office on a computer or maybe on a tile job, right, and you're just like looking at the tile and you got a problem, and you ever get up, walk around, look at the birds, go do something,
yeah.
Open up your mind, open up another side of your brain. And then we talked about how as a company, you've done trainings in the woods, on rafts and all this stuff, and you're opening up a new situation. You're really embracing a new environment to really advance, your work over here. You have to do something different and change it up, like getting into NFTs when you're 80.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now, what else? Tell us about LATICRETE's new products. You want to give us any new releases or anything?
So I'm interested in your contracting experience. All right. So when you were looking for a new product, how did you decide that you were going to use a new product or stick with your old way?
Oh, that's a good point. Well, if there was a challenge on the job site, I wanted to find the product that was going to help me overcome that challenge.
Solution.
So I'm looking for a solution to my problem, right?
Yep.
And then if I'm just looking, if I'm in Tile Geeks, Global Tile Posse,
sure.
John Bridge forums, and my peers are talking and excited about things, that would
like social proof?
So when Titanium came out,
sure.
And I'm telling on myself because I was so excited about it. I was like, this is the new, I love Platinum, right? I know Platinum's capabilities. So I had a job, and I'm like, we're going Titanium. Well, it was the wrong thin set, but I just used it because I was excited. So the lesson there is talk to your rep.
Yeah.
Don't just go on the social media excitement and, new product, I'm going to use it, right? Because it might not be the right one. So I would say 80% of the time I picked something was if my peers were excited about it.
Sure.
And then 20-30% is like, I got a problem, what's the solution? But as I matured, I would learn to, maybe slow down and talk to the rep.
Yeah, it's perfect. So I asked you that question. I cold called you with that question, right? Because I wanted to get a real response. I'm finding that contractors are falling into certain buckets, right? You have contractors who are super forward thinking. It's like if I even say the word new, they're like, send it my direction. I want it. I want to try it.
Right.
And then I've got the guys who in the middle are they're a little maybe were burnt by an idea before or whatever. They're a little bit skeptical. They kind of hang out a little bit. And then you have that group of people who are just like, I've done it this way for 97 years, and that's the way we're going to do it. And I don't care what happens. You could come out with self-installing tile, and I'm not going to use it.
Right.
All right. So what I'm trying to do is influence people to be open-minded to new technologies because my business survives and thrives on looking at research, that next chemistry that's going to make our job sites safer, healthier, easier to do. The job experience is one of our core values, is that we want to upgrade the job experience. So part of that is that we look at our new products that we launch from a different angle. And I think what is cool about this relationship is I can kind of tell you guys the inside of what we're thinking.
Yeah.
So if you look at our adhesives, so say tile or say titanium, for example, and Multimax Light, these are two examples of platform products that have reduced the burden of silica on the job, right? So we don't want silica in our lungs. We want that product to be light. Well, that research and development also said, hey, look, if we're really going to be talking about healthier products, then we need to be able to pick up the product and physical health, right? So if I have a product that's 50 pounds and I can make that same product 20 pounds, then that's a real win. That's a physical win, especially if you have to unload a pallet of material and get it to a part of the job. So we're looking for ways to make things physically lighter. We're looking for things, and it's funny because the homeowner will have no idea.
Right.
Or the building owner will have no idea that we put those innovations in there. Those are strictly for the contractor.
Right. That's
They're
true.
strictly for the person who's using the material. We want to think about the longevity of these guys. How can you do your art and have us be a partner, but how can you have your body not fall apart?
Right.
We're really, really looking at that. We've done some great research, and there's a guy named Spencer Mahue who's over our product development. And we're doing even more research in this department, but the ideas are that our new products are lighter, better for you, those kind of things. So we're launching this year, and the reason why I also ask you about their evaluation is sometimes you want to get into a new type of business. And what we also try to push is that our contractors look at their business holistically and say, yeah, we can speak to you as far as tile goes, and we want you to be excellent, awesome tile installers. But hey, also you might want to look at this near neighbor business that might be good for you.
Right.
And this is where it sounds weird, but we also teach tile contractors how to do coatings.
Sure.
And you would think, well, is that bad for the tile industry? Absolutely not. If you have a tile contractor who's doing a shower in a custom home and he can pick up an extra $5,000 by doing the coating in the garage in 2 days, I like money. I mean, I think every business should look at this. And if you have the meticulous training of how to do tile, oh my goodness, you can do coatings for sure.
Right.
You can do coatings for sure.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things. It's like that near neighbor. When you look at the pie chart of your business, those income streams are really important, and you'd know this, because you're running a media company.
The more streams, the better.
The more streams, the better, exactly. And so a lot of the contractors that we're talking to, this might be a really good thing. So along those lines, we know a lot of guys are into self-leveling now, and they've got good self-leveling skills, and we're selling self-leveling like crazy right now. So that means that the tile industry is really starting to accept it, which is great because we're a little bit behind the European markets as far as that goes. European markets definitely have been self-leveling and doing flowable screeds for a lot longer than we have. So we've got a lot of that technology that's really cutting edge in that part, and part of it is we also think that some of these floors are beautiful the moment they're poured.
Right.
And we're like, sometimes that is a finished floor.
Right.
And so now we have a massive amount of products that we're doing as far as overlays. I'm going to check my notes to make sure that I don't miss any of the capabilities.
Yeah, and I'll tell a quick story while you're checking the notes. David Sandana is someone who watched the Troy Wicks interview for Spartacoat.
Yep.
He went out right away, booked himself a job illustration or a demonstration from your reps.
Sure.
I think Troy might have went out there for that, and then he sold. He just put it on Nextdoor, and he sold 3 coatings within a week. And he's added a garage epoxy coating business to his flooring business, and it's exactly that. That's exactly right.
I love it.
I mean, one Tile Money podcast he went out, he learned about the product, he went out and made $30,000.
Boom. Those stories are the ones that, this is why I do this. This is why we're doing this. I love this. So Terrazzo is really popular.
Right.
Very difficult. It's challenging stuff to work with. And not every job is a Terrazzo type job, but at the same time, it's a nice thing that a feather you could put in your cap, so to speak, if you can do a job like that. So we have a cement overlay.
Okay.
It's NXT level SP, and SP stands for salt and pepper.
Okay.
So the idea is it's a finished floor. You can put it down, you can grind it, you can dye it, or with our color packs, you can make it all kinds of different colors. So it's just one more product that we've launched that's gonna give an opportunity for people to add another capability to their bag.
And that's for residential or
residential, commercial. We have it in a Lamborghini or a exotic car collector museum in Northeast right now, and it is gorgeous. White floor, polished, beautiful. These cars sit there and sit on. It's gorgeous. Anyway, so that's one product that we're launching. One of our favorite products that we sell right now is a product called Tri-Lite. Tri-Lite's another example of that technology. It's super light. Tri-Lite, super light physically. And we're coming out with a rapid version of that now.
Okay.
So
that'll be nice.
Tri-Lite will have a way that we can do those jobs super fast now. That's great. And then the final thing is we've been working with a guy named, I have a product development guy, his name's Elvis. First of all, it's the best name ever.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
His name's Elvis Torres.
That's why you hired him.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't even know they're any good. You're on your name alone, you're in. But no, so Elvis has been working on building these mixing centers for self-leveling and SP and those kind of things. So now we have a whole suite of tools that look, we're not a tool company, but we are a company that has curated the best of the best in order to do the job and do the job right. So we're going to have some additional mixing and tilt buckets, those kind of things that we're coming out with to help our contractors know not only what to use, but how to use it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah. So there you go. We got that, and new colors of grout, and you're going to hear all kinds of other things.
I love it.
New thermostats. We're just.
Oh, I love it. Swag. We can never have enough swag.
That's exactly right. So
the socks are the number one thing I get asked for. You got some socks for me? Yeah. Well, listen, thanks for joining me today. If you guys enjoyed listening to Ron today, you can come back tomorrow at noon, and Ron's going to bring a few of his team with, right?
Yep, going to have an opportunity to meet some of my RVPs, I hope. If they make it. Their flight was delayed, but hopefully.
Sure.
But yeah, so I really appreciate what you're doing here, Luke, and I appreciate everybody who watches the podcast. I hope your businesses are doing awesome, and you've got a friend in me. If you guys need me, get a hold of me, and I'm more than happy to put my back behind helping you, and let's have a profitable 2022. I'm stoked so far.
Excellent.
We're coming out of the blocks really strong, so this could be a really good year.
Nice. Excellent. That's good to hear.
All right, brother.
All right, Ron, thanks again.